And what is up, Buckeye Nation? Friends of the OHIO channel here, started by Eric Boggs, the podfather himself, is here with me tonight. And Eric, you are under a new dictatorship there in Ohio. A certain senator has now become a lieutenant governor. How are you feeling about that, my friend? I know you've hated Jim Tressel in the past. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, you love Jim. Like Eric is the
Yeah,
biggest Jim Tressel fan in the world, and he just got news that he is now under the leadership of Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. How you feeling?
I love it, and my response is this: it's the best decision DeWine has made since he's been in office.
Oh, wow, wow.
It's been a low bar, not gonna lie, but I approve of this one very much.
I think most of Ohio should improve of it. I mean, like Republican, Democrat, whatever political party you affiliate with. If you're a Buckeye fan, especially, you got to be thinking, you know what? Jim's a good leader. I'm happy about it. And I mean, I'm sure some are mad about it just because of politics. We're not going to get into the politics of it, but come on, man, it's Buckeye royalty. It's a Buckeye legend. He's on the Mount Rushmore of Buckeye coaches,
It's the
indisputable.
closest thing we will ever get to Woody Hayes taking political office.
Yeah. And somebody asked what lieutenant governor was. Oh man, I can't find it, but it is basically the vice governor, essentially. I mean, if you want to put it in like perspective. Nicholas Quinn. Okay, hey Nick, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, it's basically just a second in command.
Am
And
I under the impression that he took JD Vance's position?
no, JD Vance was a senator,
He was a
like
senator.
an
Okay,
actual
I get it.
senator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
then but then the former lieutenant governor took the senator's
I don't
position
know
and
who he appointed.
is
Yeah,
it like a dominoes effect here?
I'm not sure who he appointed. But oh, this is interesting. Is Tress looking at a run at the gubernatorial seat? Is he looking to be set up for the next
I
guy?
don't think so.
I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you, Eric. I don't think that's his mo.
I don't think so. Although he has my vote.
Yeah, you don't even have to hear his.
I might write him in.
Yeah.
Just he's automatically.
You don't even have to like think about it. Like, what's your I don't care what your platform is. You won a natty. You are you should you beat Michigan. You were 9-1 against Michigan. You got
Yeah.
my vote. No
Yeah.
problem.
The governor's house needed more sweater vests, you know?
I'll tell you one thing. I know one person who would love it if Jim Tressel were the actual governor of the state. That'd be one Ryan Day at Ohio State, being the highest paid employee of the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
He would absolutely love it because if there's anybody who would be on his side more than as governor than Jim Tressel, you can't name one. So,
Right.
but yeah, you know what? It's cool. It's look, I'm in Florida here, so it doesn't impact me per se. But I love Jim Tressel. I love seeing him in a position of leadership. I would welcome it in any position of leadership because I think that he's a born leader. I think he understands people. He understands how people think and work and function, and I think he also understands being from Youngstown area the plight of the everyday blue collar everyday working man or
Yeah.
woman. So
And I
Jim,
don't even know like his political stance. I figured
no
he'd
idea.
probably lean right, I'm guessing, just because of how he speaks and
Well, if
how
DeWine
he
picked him, he probably Republican.
probably, but I like he's so good at just being a good human being that like he doesn't, wear that label or he just wears a label of being
Yeah,
the,
exactly.
the one of the greatest coaches in Ohio State history.
He's not
And
defined by his political bent for sure.
Nick Quinn, I very much doubt anybody would vote for me outside of all you great crazy Buckeye fans of the
Got two
channel,
votes
man.
right there. Okay.
Man, I missed my calling.
I think your wife will vote for you, though I'm not sure. But I think she'll vote for
Probably not.
you. She's like, look, Eric, I love you, but and anyway, I do want to remind people, thank you, Richard, to smash. See, I could do it just like Eric. Smash the. I love that, by the way.
Very good. Bada boom, bada bing. Way to go there, Dr. Cory.
Smash that like button. Help the algorithm of the channel grow. If you like what you're listening to, subscribe. You may or may not right now because we started off with politics, not football. But definitely share it with a friend. The OHIO podcast. We appreciate every one of you always for showing up and just participating. the people in this chat who participate are awesome. You have made me like going live. You folks have. I mean that sincerely. I never used to like it in the past. Hated it, but I love interacting with everybody in the group chat. And anyway, we're going to talk about the Buckeye therapy session tonight. My pretend my pretend doctor status here. We're going to go through the coaching changes because I've actually done some Google Trend searching and stuff like that's the biggest topic on Ohio State football's minds right now is the coaching changes right now because we're still anticipating who the defensive coordinator is going to be, but we're starting to get a clearer picture on that maybe, and it's then we're just gonna Eric and I are gonna put our heads together and try to dissect what they might be doing. But first, we'll start with Keenan Bailey. I'll tell you what, Eric, I said it in a prior podcast, I don't know, weeks ago. I said quietly he's rebuilding that tight end room into something special. If you look at the recruits he's bringing in, he's winning recruiting battles for major players. I think he improved it with G. Scott and Will Kasmer over the season. And then you look at what we got Max Clare coming in and Will Kasmer being still there. Bennett Christian has been a solid contributor, plus Nate Roberts and Max LeBlanc and people like that. Quietly, he's been rebuilding that room better than what Kevin Wilson had, if you want to be frank. And I love Kevin Wilson, but I think Keenan's done a good job, wouldn't you say, as tight end coach? Do you feel like he's been a good contributor to the coaching staff so far?
That's an interesting question. Um, I'm going to say yes, but with an asterisk there. Because I think the tight end position at Ohio State is so devalued, Corey, compared to what you
That's a
could see
that's a
across the
very
country,
fair point. Yeah,
that it's hard to evaluate because typically when we think of tight ends now in football, we think of pass catching, you know, stretch the field, really put pressure on the secondary of a defense type of tight end. But at Ohio State, traditionally the tight end is a glorified tackle.
yeah, that's so true.
And they didn't have other than Case Merrick, they didn't really have that body in the tight end room. And so it's kind of hard to evaluate him as a developer, but I will say he's a great recruiter. He's
Mm.
recruited the position really well. And I'll also say this. I'm so high on the guy they got from Purdue.
Oh, I
Like,
think it is a beast.
oh, I think he is a difference maker in all aspects of the tight end position. So I think you've got to give him credit for that. So yeah, I'll give him passing grades. Yeah.
Yeah. So, would you say he deserved a promotion? I understand this is a bit of a pay bump more than anything when he's bumped up to co-OC. He's not going to be play calling or anything like that, but he'll be. This is my assessment. I think they're trying to raise his pay so another white like Oregon just lost their receiver coach. You know Oregon's going to come sniffing for a guy like Keenan Bailey who's been working with receivers, but also I think it's to elevate him in a sense that like, look, you're on an ascension track. We're trying to move you forward, but also he's going to take some of the burden off of Brian Hartline's receiver coaching. I think in a way, after as Brian Hartline now has to focus completely on play calling, plus his position, he ain't going to leave his position behind. But play caller, as you know, Eric, takes up
Yeah.
so much of your time.
And it should.
Yeah, and it's very important, obviously. So, what do
Yeah.
you think about that assessment? Do you think am I missing anything? Is there anything that
No,
like?
I listened to minutes today because I
Mm-hmm,
wanted to get Zach's take on it because Zach coached with him.
mm-hmm,
He actually he
mm-hmm.
actually he actually coached for Zach. He
Yeah.
was in like he worked for Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Zach speaks very highly of him. But the thing you got to give Zach credit for, whether you like him or not, is he's incredibly honest,
Yeah.
brutally honest
Yeah.
sometimes. And he mentioned some things about Keenan that were kind of like a turnoff to him a little bit about some of the behind the scenes things, but he can't say anything bad about him as a coach when it comes to X's and O's and development and recruiting.
But we also
Uh,
got to remember this was like 7 years ago. He coached with him. I mean, he
yeah,
could have been
it's been a
immature. He
while.
could have been different. Who knows?
Sure, he was
Yeah.
incredibly young, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But it's obvious to me Hartline trusts him.
Oh, yeah. And Ryan Day trusts him. Yeah.
Ryan Day speaks glowingly about him.
Mm.
So if your head coach and now your offensive coordinator both want you to be elevated, then why shouldn't we as Buckeye fans, I guess, back that? So Yeah, I think you take what we've seen with our own eyeballs when it comes to recruiting and what people behind the scenes have said, and I don't think there's any reason why Keenan shouldn't get that. And I think you're right, Corey. This is definitely Ryan Day hedging his bets that I don't want to lose him either.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, I mean, Clemson used to call on Keenan when they needed a wide receiver coach. They were, I mean, I don't know if they were really going to take him, but they were interviewing him. They were like, "Look, man, we're serious here. We need a receiver." I think it was about 3, 4 years ago when Hartline was still the receiver coach, not co-OC, and Keenan was his kind of GA. And I was afraid to lose him because I know he's an up and coming guy. And G. Scott Sr. has spoke glowingly of Keenan and his helping of training G. Scott Jr. So I mean, he actually said it wasn't even Hartline; it was Keenan that was making my son better even in high school. So
Mm.
it's just like if you got a guy who's that, I know Ryan Day loves it, has an affinity for those young coaches. Clearly, Corey Dennis, is another example of one that he liked a lot. Um, so I actually I like the move, but it answers another question with Tyler Bowen. You covered Tyler Bowen in another podcast coming to Ohio State is the former offensive coordinator of Virginia Tech. Here's an interesting thing: when Tyler Bowen is the O line coach for Jacksonville Jaguars, or I think he was with Urban, and then there was rumors we were getting Joe Colin. I'm going to get to that later, but he was a defensive coordinator for Jacksonville in 2021, and I'm like, is he trying to raid the Jaguars of 21? What are we doing here? Um, but Bowen figures to be a phenomenal recruiter. That's the
So I
reputation he
have
has.
a theory on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Ryan Day's Rolodex, as they like to call it when you're a coach,
Hmm.
is not as large as some of the older coaches. And so I think he leans pretty heavy on the relationships he's built, which includes Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
And so I think that there was a little bit of a familiarity with him
Hmm.
because of that. And I think Urban would be honest with Ryan if Urban felt that this was a good move for him. But I still go back to what I said the other night, that this had everything to do, in my opinion, with Brian Hartline's take on him too. What did
Hmm.
you think of the interview that I had with the Virginia Tech guy on how that
I
they're
didn't get to
they're
catch it yet,
okay?
unfortunately. Yeah.
They have kind of mixed reviews on it. Like some of them feel it's addition by subtraction. Others are kind of upset to see him go. Like it was a kind of a 50-50 thing in their fan base.
Yeah, I saw a couple fans say that he had nothing to work with at Virginia Tech when he was offensive coordinator,
And
and then
that's what I kind of got from the guy interviewed, was like he didn't really have a fair shake, to be honest with you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And but again, you know how the fan base look at just judging by translation to our fan base. Sometimes excuses don't matter or nothing. None of that matters. If you don't get results, you don't get results. And his offense, I think, was ranked around 52nd in the country at Virginia Tech, but his run game was pretty solid. So he's coming to Ohio State, essentially taking a demotion. I don't know. It might be a parallel move when he come from Virginia Tech offensive coordinator to Ohio State offensive line coach, but he's also the run game coordinator. Pete Thamel put out today, and which we kind of all suspected, right? We
He had to be like,
Yeah,
who else is it gonna be, right?
yeah, and there's nobody else on the
Everybody else in
staff
that room's all passing, right?
unless except for Lachlan. That's about it.
Yeah,
It's just
Coach Locke. Like, well, you're gonna listen to Coach Locke one
of
way or
course,
the
yeah,
other, you know.
yeah. He's gonna. I don't like that. Okay, I'm sorry. Jeez. um, but the funny part is Lachlan now is the oldest guy on the offensive staff, but
which is crazy. But you got to look at his experience too, right? Like he
yeah,
got
yeah,
into coaching later.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna do a video about the youth movement on the
Hmm.
offense, but and here's I'm excited to see how it plays out, but I am also a little weary, and that's because Corey, in my experience in my playing days, the old coach was the one that seemed to always get the leg up on a younger coach in
Yeah,
my experience.
yeah, easily.
Um,
Especially the one with he got the experience, right? So
right. And so I thought it was always really important that Ryan Day surrounded himself with that experience. And he did so last year to a great success in Kelly and
yeah.
Knowles. And maybe this is Ryan maybe taking that step to say, I'm kind of the old guy now.
Hmm. I think this natty's
mature.
changed him a little bit for
It
sure.
has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's a good change though, in my opinion. It's a welcome change. Stop being so unsure of yourself. You are a title winning coach.
Hmm.
You trusted that, and I think you're right. A part of the youth movement is, first of all, Ryan Day. If he doesn't have confidence in himself as an offensive mind yet, I don't. He's never going to. So Ryan Day has confidence in himself as an offensive mind. So the youth movement on the offensive side of the ball, it suggests that he's like, look, I'm here. If there's trouble, I'm here. I know how to fix it. And I really feel like Ryan Day did a lot to fix the offense going into the playoff last year, especially the pass game side of it. Chip Kelly, you own the run game for sure, but man, nobody beats Ryan Day in the pass game concepts, and it seemed to improve after the Michigan game. And there was obviously you know about the players meeting. I mean, I'm sure there's a come to Jesus moment with the coaching staff as well. It's like this we did not end well this year, and obviously went through, and not to mention Will Howard's improvement. I know he credits Bill Pressler, the new quarterback coach, which I'm kind of excited about him. He's young. He's like 29, 30 years old, but he got a better resume than Corey Dennis had when we hired him. And but I got to believe, just the fact that it's just like, okay, look, Will Howard, look where he was to where he's now, where he is now.
Hmm.
Now
Yeah.
that's part Will Howard. He's got to be coachable. He's got to work, and
Sure.
he is those things. But you
Bill
have to have a great developer.
Billy Fessler's, I think, a just a budding star.
Yeah, I agree. Fessler. I thought it was Pressler. My bad. It's Fessler.
Fessler
Okay.
with an F. Yeah. Um, he Will Howard spoke glowingly about him
Mm.
on his farewell speech. Ryan Day has spoke very, very glowingly about him as well. Um, let's be honest. Chip Kelly was the quarterback coach,
Yeah, yeah, and title. Yeah,
but how much was he really in the weeds with those quarterbacks? Not
it was Bill.
much.
It was Bill.
So I think this is just saying, hey, you did a great job. You deserve this. We're going to keep you right there and give you a pay bump.
And
And
Bill came from UCLA with Chip as a QB coach
hmm
in UCLA. You got to believe that they said, "Look, once Chip goes, you're the QB coach. Just sitting waiting for a minute. You'll be the GA. I know it's a little bit of a downgrade for you. You've been an offensive coordinator before, for crying out loud. Just be the GA. You'll be the guy in waiting." And I don't even think Ryan Day thought about it. He's like, "I'm not searching. I got my guy right there down the hall." And Bill Fessler, young guy, but really good resume so far. Really, really, really good resume. And I agree with you, budding star. I can't wait to see what he can do with Julian Saint. Imagine his excitement. He's like, I get to work with Julian Saint now. Are you kidding me?
hmm
And so got a plethora of talent to work with. And Tavian St. Clair. He's like, you just got this 5-star NFL prospect I get to mold now. Oh my goodness. Um, honestly, Fessler might be an offensive coordinator here in the next 3-4 years, easy somewhere. Even if it's not here, I don't know what Heartline is going to go for. But let me ask you something, Eric. We haven't talked since this has been official. Heartline 2 offensive coordinator, play caller. We know without a shadow of doubt he's a play caller. And I'm helping you out, Blue Wolver. We're here for everybody, even Wolverine fans. I'll especially be here when the hammer comes down. No, I'm just kidding on that one. I've made myself known. I don't think something's coming. I hope Chris is right on that, though. But that being said, what do you think about Heartline? Are you nervous about him being the play caller, or do you feel Ryan Day feels good about it, so we're good? Or
yeah. So I'm on record as saying that everything Brian Hartline has touched has turned to gold. He is hands down the number one recruiting position recruiter in all of college football, and he has been for about 5 years. He's the number one developer of wide receiver talent in all of college football. And there's no reason to think that he won't kill this opportunity.
does it
That
worry you what everybody's trying to talk about 2 years ago when during the summer or something?
No, because
Yeah,
I
you know what I'm
think that
talking
had
about.
yeah, I think that had more to do with Ryan Day than it did Brian Hartline.
You know what? See, that's a point nobody's making. I think you're right. I think Ryan Day, unfortunately, not willing to quite give it up to a young guy.
He wasn't ready
Yeah.
to trust anybody yet.
I
And
do think he would have given it to Kevin Wilson had he stayed, because Kevin went to Tulsa that year.
yes, I think that would have been a possibility. And he did trust Kevin Wilson. They spoke the same love language of offense, and Kevin was his eyes in the sky
Hmm.
when he was still calling plays. But I believe Brian Hartline, and I said this on last night's show, and I'll say it again. I don't think Buckeye fans should expect a polished product in game one.
Oh, please, guys, listen to Eric. Preach, Eric.
It is going to look clunky. It is
Hmm.
going to look a little bit out of sync. You've got a first time play caller. You've got a first time quarterback. You're going to have an offensive line that has not played together before. You're going to have a running back room that has been completely turned over. But you've got Lamborghinis and Ferraris on the outside in the wide receiver room. So
Hmm.
it's going to have moments early on where it's exciting, but it's also going to have moments where those Lamborghinis are going to fly off the track. Okay,
Yeah.
it's going to look a little bit clunky at first. Just be patient. And the thing I keep telling everybody, don't judge Brian Hartline, don't judge Julian Sane by game one. Let's wait till game 10, 11, and 12 and see where this team is at. This team's goal next year should be in the hunt for the CFP by the end of the season.
Yep.
If you can sneak into the CFP by the end of the season, maybe you go 10-2 and you get kind of a Penn State type of path here.
Hmm.
Maybe you go on a run again, okay? That should be the goal of this team. I liken Julian Sane to what CJ Stroud was in 2021. He's about the same size.
Hmm.
I saw where Sage Ohio said he's put on some weight. Julian saying he has. I went back and looked at what C.J. Stroud was coming out of high school. They're about the same size,
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
lot of people forget that. And I think they've got similar arm talent. And if you go back to 2021, those first couple games
Hmm.
under C.J. Stroud, I remember people calling for Kyle McCord.
It's
It
always
it
the unknown we go want to go to, right?
it.
And the sad
Mhm.
part is CJ didn't even play bad. Is the second half of Minnesota or the game Oregon game? He really didn't play bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So I don't expect this to be perfection early on. And I don't think Ryan Day expects it to be perfection. I think they're going to try their best to work through things. Maybe they get in a dogfight and the ball bounces our way against Texas and we're able to pull that one off. And
mm,
then you get two real good games to kind of get your footing and then a bye before you go out west and start Big Ten play in Washington. By the way, welcome to the Big Ten, Julian saying you get to play in one of the toughest environments in the whole
hmm.
conference
And he
in
get to travel
Seattle.
across the country to do it.
Yeah, like this schedule's not easy, folks.
No,
So that's why I'm saying like 10-2. I think is gonna be it's gonna be a good season for
that's a good
us.
season. And I agree. And I talked to you guys know Kevin Noon from I think it's Buckeye
Buckeye
Huddle.
huddle.
Yeah, I talked to him last night, and we were just jabbering about Buckeye football. And he says, "I cannot stress enough. The fan base needs to be patient the next year. They have to
Hmm.
be patient." And again, I'm going to stay off Twitter. We'll do our live show. Thank God. I'm going to be thankful for the live show during games because I don't want to see Twitter at all because it's going to be the second of first down.
Oh,
We're terrible. Or
fire
second,
Heartline.
fire everybody. Julian saying if 3 and out, screw it. I'm done. Fire
Yeah.
everybody. Ryan Day lost it already. It's just like, come on, guys. It's new quarterback, two new running backs, new tackles. It's just like you're losing Emeka Egbuka for crying out loud. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
care what anybody says. That's a loss.
Bootzilla brings up a really good point about the 2021 season. The defense was rough.
It was bad.
I
Yeah.
don't think the defense is going to be nearly that bad in this year.
Well, we hope. I mean, depending on who's weak, that's
I
a
know
good
we
segue.
I know we're I know we are replacing a lot, Corey. What is it? 1, 2, 3,
Eight
so eight
starters.
starters on
Mhm.
defense. But every one of those guys who's stepping in would have started somewhere in the Big Ten last year. They just were blocked. Every single one of them.
No, I mean we got a lot of talent. There's no question about that. But that's a good segue, Eric. Who's going to be calling the defensive plays next year?
Whoa, Nelly, buddy. Are we ready? Are we going to open this can of worms tonight?
Let's just pop that one open and throw it everywhere. Like, a can of worms everywhere.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Look, there's been so many rumors on this. Let's start with the first rumor that came out. Bates from Pittsburgh. That was the first rumor. And it even looked like he may have been, we may have said no. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I'm not going to speculate as to why. I don't have anything against
I
Bates. I don't.
will, since I'm apparently on a topic thread on
That's true.
Bucknuts.
Let
So
it fly.
I think my theory, tinfoil hat, is Bates gave off Jim Knowles vibes to Ryan Day.
So he backed off. He said, "Look, he's 64. He won't go any. Wait a minute. You think he might end up back at Michigan State or something?"
I think he just got some of them Jim Knowles vibes, and he said no thanks.
It's possible. I mean, um, I like the idea of Bates. I thought it was a safe pick, but
I did too.
a solid pick. And don't get me wrong. It's not a guy like, holy crap, how did we get
Yeah,
him?
at first I was like, wait, what? And then I dug, and I was like, he's a Buckeye.
Yeah,
He's done a really good job. He's ran multiple defenses. He's been around the block.
he knows how to roll and run Knowles' system.
He knows how to run the 4-2-5. And then I watched some videos of him coaching, and I was like, that's my guy.
Yeah,
And
whatever
not,
reason.
not so much.
Nah, it's not happening now. Then the next name was Joe Colin from the Kansas City Chiefs, a defensive line coach. At
Thank
first,
God they didn't go that way.
buddy, I love that you said that because at first I was like, ooh, Kansas City Chiefs defensive line is awesome. Go get that guy. Then I looked up his background. I said, no, don't get that guy.
No.
He's been a defense. He is a lifetime defensive line coach. He was a defensive coordinator one time. Can you name that one time, Eric, for the audience? Go ahead and name that one time.
Was it? I don't know, dude. You tell
Oh,
me.
2021 Jacksonville Jaguars for
Oh,
none other than Urban Meyer.
oh, that's right. I
Eric,
forgot.
can you tell me what that defense was ranked?
Trash. Dead last, wasn't it?
28th.
Like,
That is not a great hire. Absolutely not.
that guy sent Urban Meyer to Urban Meyer's pint house on a weekend, and the rest is history.
And I'm thinking to myself, why are we doing this? As soon as because they got real strong that was the guy. It's not the guy. Relax. We can relax, everybody. It's not the guy. Then we've always held this thought, by the way, that Matty G would just get ascended. But now there's a huge rumor out there, and Eric, we need to give some therapy to Buckeye Nation and try to sift through this.
Yeah, I need it.
Now the name right now is Matt. I almost said
Matt
DeJour.
Patricia, yeah.
Matt Patricia, former defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, former Detroit Lions head coach. I'll be honest, I'm not going to hold that against him because Dan Campbell seems to be the only one to crack that code to make it work in Detroit.
Kinda.
I mean, we'll see how it goes without Ben Johnson and a company
gets
now.
Them to the playoffs, but
I mean, hey, that's better than what they used to do.
True. But even the Bengals have been to the playoffs a few times.
I mean, yeah, most franchises could get there, not name the Browns. No, I'm kidding. They've been there a couple times.
Yeah, Lisa says, yeah, where did Matt Patricia come from?
You know what? He's not in football right now.
He's been off he's taken the entire season off.
That's Mike McCarthy did that before the Cowboys job. So I mean, it's coaches who are like, okay, I need a break. This is ridiculous. I'll say this. I have a feeling that Ryan Day's been talking to a certain North Carolina head coach about this because he leans on Urban. He leans on guys like Belichick. He even leans on guys like Saban now and again. But I will say this: Urban, Belichick, and Saban have made hires that make me scratch my head at times. And I'm not questioning their ability to coach football because those are three freaking coaching legends, obviously. But sometimes they make hires that are like that. What are you doing?
Yeah. Pull up Bootzilla's comment.
We go.
Yeah. Let me dive into this. He is a 3-time winning Super Bowl coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, you can't discredit that. That is legit. And it's not all Belichick. I'm not going to sit here and be like, he doesn't deserve any credit because Belichick was head coach and therefore nothing he did matters. That's not fair to Patricia at all to say that. But what Cory is hearing makes sense to me on why you would bring him in
Mhm.
if indeed
If it's true.
if the rumor is true. And if
Mhm.
that's the case, I don't necessarily hate it because his personality to me is not doesn't scream college defensive coordinator at
Or
all.
recruiter.
But does he necessarily have to be? Jim Knowles wasn't. Jim Knowles
True.
wasn't a recruiter.
In fact, Knowles is a bit of a weirdo, so yeah.
What I listen, from one weirdo to another, I kind of respect that, you know?
Hey, I, I will never compare myself to a vegan in my life. That's not gonna
That
happen.
well, look at me. Of course I'm not, but I did enjoy the cigar aficionado aspect of the coach, and I enjoyed listening to his press conferences and things. But
I'm just
um,
picking on him anyway. He's not I don't think he's a bad guy. I'm just saying it. He was definitely a little bit weird, a little different cat, but that's
yeah,
okay. There's nothing wrong
yeah,
with that. But Patricia's on a different level. He's definitely. I mean, if you're showing up and you're the head coach and you're basically wearing pajamas and a freaking shredded beard and backwards cap, I'm like, look, you're taking a little too much out of the Belichick paycheck or playbook, where he would show
yeah.
up in a hoodie. And I mean, Belichick can get away with it. Not everybody gets away with it. Yeah, from what I understand, I'm hearing. Should I keep this for members only, or should we do it? Just go ahead and shoot it out.
Go for it, bro.
All right. Yeah. What I've heard is that Patricia wouldn't even be calling plays. He'd just be there to kind of make sure the defense is functioning, with Matt G calling the plays, and maybe Matt G and Tim Walton as co-defensive coordinators. That's the what we're that's kind of what I'm hearing anyway, and I could be wrong. I'm not gonna don't quote me. I don't pretend like I know. I don't pretend to be freaking Menace or Scoop. I had it first or whatever. You know. I just I don't have like like a mountain of sources, but that Eric, like you said, that makes sense,
It
right?
makes sense to me. He's not going to be someone who you are going to want to put in front of your program as a representative to parents visiting their houses.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not going to be the kind of person you put on the billboard and say, "Here's our new DC. Look how awesome we're going to be."
Hmm.
He's the kind of person who sits in the film room, goes to the meeting with Ryan Day with the defense and says, "Here's the issues I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Here's the things we can exploit in the team we're coming up to." And then Matty G is sitting in that meeting with him too, and he's he's elevating Matty G as a play caller.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. And Matty G and the other defensive coaches, they are your recruiters. They are your faces of the
And we have good
defense.
ones.
They are the voices. While he kind of takes on that role that Jim Knowles had as kind of like a mad scientist, in the film room, drawing
Hmm.
plays up all the time. That's kind of what I would see him as, and I don't hate that at all.
And it wouldn't bother me if he's sitting in the booth next to Matt G pointing things out. Just like eye goggles. Okay, yeah, you see what they're doing with their tight end here. Whatever. That wouldn't bother me if he was in that kind of role. I don't know what position he would necessarily take. If they might call him co-DC or just front seven coach, or I don't know. That's the rumor though. But I like that if because I like the fact Ryan's not saying, "Hey, okay, here you go, Matt. It's all yours at 38 years old." Never been a defensive coordinator for a major program outside of Duke. We're coming off a national championship defense, and here you go, Matt. That would be setting them up for failure, in my opinion. I like bringing in an experienced voice, and there's a YouTube video called "Coaching with Matt Patricia," who he does an interview with on a podcast. It came out like 10 days ago. I was listening to a lot of it today. I got to say, the dude's smart.
Oh
He's
yeah.
he's intelligent. He knows his stuff, and he studied under the influences of Saban's defenses and Bill Belichick's defenses, and he understands how to switch from like cover forward to man press, whatever, based on the personnel that you have. He talked
hmm
extensively at adjusting how you do things based on the personnel you have. Like he
And
brought up
and
bringing
and
a oh, go
this is
ahead.
key. This is key.
Mhm.
If we are transitioning back from a 5-2 or a 4-2-5 into something else, having someone with that experience
Mhm.
that could help that transition feel more or we run multiple looks,
Hmm.
having someone who could help teach multiple looks, because you're going to need that if you're not going to be exclusive 4-2-5 like what you had under Knowles. You might
Hmm.
need somebody who could say, here's the multiple defenses we could run with a 4 down front,
Yeah,
right?
because Larry's not giving up that 4 down front.
Correct.
If in fact Larry's coming back next year, we still don't know 100% for sure that on that one. And I bet Ryan Day's gonna be a little ticked if he feels like he's got his staff settled, and Larry's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm done." You know, again, another thing I've heard, he might be giving his decision by Monday or Tuesday or something like that to Ryan Day. I don't know. That's again, it's a rumor, a little small, tiny rumor. But I hope Larry stays for a little bit, because I don't want to like replace a legendary D line coach on top of replacing a top flight defensive coordinator on top. It's just like too much overturn in 1 year. And it's just like, okay, what do you, and then you got to go look for a defensive line coach at that point. But anyway, but if it's Larry, he is not giving up that 4-man front. So
No.
bring in Matt to work with Matt G, Matt, Eminem working together to.
You got one chance, one shot.
Nice. Just please don't have mom spaghetti all over after during a big game. Uh, but yeah, I wasn't in love with the name, but I'll tell you one thing. I say this for him. When he was defensive coordinator of the Patriots, they had a top 10 defense every single year. And when they won the Super Bowl in 16, they had the number one defense in the entire league. And they allowed the fewest points. Again, people say, that's Belichick. No, it's not only Belichick. Like Eric was saying, stop it. And Belichick's not hiring a moron. So I'm just I'm okay with it. It's not sexy. It's not flashy. It's not. I wanted to go get like a linebacker coach from the NFL, kind of like Michigan did, and make him the D coordinator because I want a young up and coming guy like a Mike McDonald or something like that. But I see Ryan. If this is what's happening, I see the method of Ryan Day's madness on this one. And how will you feel, Eric, if that completes the staff?
Hmm. I, conflicted. I would feel more confident in the offensive staff than I
Yeah,
would the defensive staff. And I think and the word I would use as to why I would feel more confident in the offensive staff is continuity.
yeah.
The defensive staff kind of would look more like a hodgepodge, and it's kind of like, I guess we'll throw something against the wall and see what sticks,
The,
right?
the
Like,
the concern I have is the undefined roles in the
yes,
defensive staff.
that's what, yeah, the hodgepodge of it.
Yeah.
Now, people much smarter than myself might love it, and so I don't want to come out here and just be like, no, it's awful, I hate it. I'm just more weary, I
Yeah.
guess. As a fan, I feel a little bit more weary of the defensive side in the coaching staff, if that's the case. But again, it's hard to argue 3 Super Bowl rings, the 2024 Natty rings from those guys. Like, it's a lot of bling on that side of the ball there too. So put them in the kitchen and let them cook, right?
I guess right now we just kind of have to trust that Ryan Day is counseling the right people, that he's feeling pretty confident about what he's doing. I have no doubt he's interviewed names that we haven't even heard that are
True.
so. The person who broke the Patricia news is College Football Focus, I think, on Twitter. They had it first. Oh, sorry, I had to.
They
they
they're usually pretty good at that stuff too.
Exactly, and he's also saying they're interviewing other people. So Patricia still is a rumor. So we're just talking about it because we it's a name right now. It's the hot
Hmm.
name right now for the Ohio State defensive side of the ball. I saw a Michigan fan saying, "Please hire him," because I'm sure he's a Detroit fan as well. And again, if we were thinking of Patricia as a head coach, I would run screaming, like absolutely not. If say Ryan Day went to the NFL route, we need a new head coach, and they say, "Hey, Matt Patricia, what do you think about that?" I'd say, fire Ross Bjork right now, 100%. Like,
Well, he hasn't coached in college since like what? Since he was early 20s, like
yeah,
20 some years ago.
he's 50 right now, and he looks wildly different. You wouldn't even recognize him anymore,
Yeah.
guys.
I mean, he's been on the Ozempic train big
Yeah,
time.
absolutely. He's thin, and he's or it's not thin, but he's thinner, and he shaves his. I mean, he doesn't shave. He trims his beard now. I saw him on that podcast. I said, "That's not Matt." But wait a minute.
He's going for the Ryan Day look. Some of us have tried that. It didn't work so well.
I don't know, man. I thought you had the look.
Don't
You
that
had it.
great
I see.
great song, but
I see
not
you're growing
no.
it back too, so
Yeah,
that's
oh
good.
yeah, yeah. The wife took one look at me and she was like, "I did not marry a 12-year-old. Put it back on."
I've had this beard probably 20 years. It's a kind of a crappy beard, but it's a beard, and I feel naked without it when I shave. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
uh,
I felt weird. I had feelings on my face that I haven't felt in a long time.
yeah, you're like, what is that? Is that a breeze? What the heck?
Yeah.
It's like, am I getting bugs on me? What the heck? No, but I mean, it was it. Yeah, that's funny. You say he's trying to look like Ryan Day. Maybe that's what he's trying to do to get the job. Ryan Day just got, did Ryan Day just get, enamored with him because he's like, you know what? That's a good looking guy. I think.
True.
Just,
That's true. Yeah. Cheryl, you're right. Scoop's batting 1,000 right now.
you know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna get us in trouble right now, Eric.
Oh boy. Oh no.
You know why Scoop can have it first? Because they don't have press passes and they don't care about Jerry Emick. That's why.
And
They
there's
they
something to be said about
they
that.
do have sources. I'm not saying they don't, but when every other publication has to respect Jerry and say, "Hey, don't put that out right now,"
Yeah, that's rough.
Scoop
Like
gets to go, "Hey, I heard it first."
well, it's also like I feel bad for some of the people in the media who aren't allowed to ask the tough questions.
Yeah.
Like I always feel bad about
And
that. Like
don't get me wrong. I don't begrudge Scoop playing that. I don't begrudge because I mean they should. They're trying to make money. I get it. But that being said, Alex Gleitman, the whole week about Heartline, Gleitman, Givler, Berm, we're all saying I feel very good. It's going to be Heartline. They just can't come out and say it's Heartline. So it's like, oh, but Scoop had it first. And then of course, 57 tweets. We had it first. I had to block them. I was so over it. Like, oh, you guys act like children every time you get something. I can't do this with you. So I'm just saying I got into a couple little bit of fisticuffs with friends of mine in group chat over this. So
oh,
it's
did
like
you?
not we're all fine, but I just was like, dude, I'm not giving people their props when they act like children like this. I can't do it. It's like I have some good friends that are decent sources. They get some right, they get some wrong. I kudos to them. They get it right. If they get it wrong, I don't hammer them. Everybody gets crap wrong now and again. And
Yeah.
I've told them straight to their face. It's like, yeah, but you don't act like a jerk when you get it right. That's the difference. It's like you're not freaking throwing it in my face. You had it right. Okay, you had it. Okay, leave me alone. So anyway, yeah, yeah. So I was just putting that out there because that's I was thinking about that last week. Like, wait a minute, they and Jerry don't like each other, so they could say whatever they want. But that being said, it was also the most predictable move on the planet. Heartline becoming OC. I could have called it a month ago and said, "Yeah, I had it first. I didn't have it, but it was predictable." But uh, I was a little like curious as the Heartline is he going to be the full play caller? And I was like, well, it's about time we have to do it. Eric, do you think we remember you were saying about we're going switching back to the offense now about Heartline? Remember you were saying you didn't know if he wanted to be the play caller or not. You're not the only one saying that. Berm was even saying that. I don't know if he even wants to be the play caller. Do you think we're putting somebody in that position who's kind of reluctant to take it? Ryan Day's just like, dude, I need a play caller. Do you want to be it or not?
No, I think he does because I I th- I think there was a part of him that wanted to take the Urban Meyer route. Urban Meyer went from wide receiver coach to head coach, and not
Mm-hmm.
have to worry about the pressure and if I'm going to be under pressure, then let me be under pressure as a head coach. Let me take all of it. Like the play caller gets a lot of pressure,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of negative feedback, and he's not even the head coach. That was kind of my thought process behind it. But I think if he wants to be the next head coach of Ohio State, and if you ask me, do you think Brian Hartline wants to be the next head coach after Ryan Day? My answer to that is 100% yes, he
Mm-hmm.
does. And I think he realizes if I'm going to do that, I have to be successful as a play caller.
I mean, does he wonder if he's got a long wait though? Ryan might. I mean, he's signed till 2031. I know an NFL team can come in and pay off the buyout. That's a huge buyout now.
It is unless he wants to leave,
That's true. If he just quits, yeah.
right?
But
But I also don't know that he's gonna just like let's hypothetically say, um, um, yeah, we've been talking about that, Tyler, for the last 20 minutes. I don't know that I'm gonna go A plus. I think
I'm in wait and see mode on that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly how I am. Um, back to Heartline.
Incomplete. That's what we'll
Yeah.
say.
Uh, give me a hall pass on that one, buddy. Let me see what it looks like after summer. Um, I think Brian Hartline, Ryan Day. Let's say Ryan Day wins another one,
Hmm.
and he's like, I've got R. Let's say RJ's is senior year at Clemson, and I want to go watch RJ at Clemson, and I'm going to take a year off.
Hmm.
I could see him doing something like that.
Boy, if RJ got recruited to Clemson, oh my gosh, I think I'd puke.
Why?
Because I just don't want him over it. Well, I'd rather him here than in Clemson.
Oh, I think he'd rather be here too. But let's just be honest. I think Clemson's courted him.
Yeah, and I have no doubt. Some of it. Sometimes I wonder if it's gamesmanship to mess with Day a little bit, but
No,
uh,
I think it had more to do with just being cordial and him taking a visit and
mhm.
and Ryan's like, yeah, let's go check it out. Let's go see what it's like, right?
See if I
Like,
could steal their playbook. Yeah.
yeah, let's go see what is he got? What's he got doing in recruiting that maybe we're not doing in Ohio State,
Wouldn't
right?
that be funny if Ryan Day showed up with RJ on an official visit, and Dabo comes up, hey, wait, how do you get that, coach? That would be that'd be awkward, wouldn't it? It's like, yeah, remember 2020 when I totally smoked you? That
If
was good times.
if RJ's good enough to play at Clemson, he's good enough to play at Ohio State.
Yeah, I could see that because
Um,
Cade Klubnik's pretty good. I think Ohio
yeah,
State would take him if we didn't have the guys we have. But
but you also have to take into account, do you want all that smoke for your son?
you got to wonder if Ryan wants. I mean, I know he wants to be around his son. That's not what I'm.
Sure.
But does he want to coach his son? Does he feel like he could coach him objectively?
And let's also be 100% honest, like what if RJ is not a top one, a top 50 quarterback recruit? Okay, then he comes here on a
Preferred walk on. Yeah.
yeah, like okay, then are we doing the
Not
whole
like Ryan Day couldn't afford his education. I'm just be.
right, yeah, right. Well, his dad's a employee of the college, so he's going to get a free scholarly anyways.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but my point being is like, or would you rather see him go to OU, Ohio University, and actually get the start by his junior year? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you have to take that into account.
And
I
then we
just threw
and then we
Clemson.
play Ohio and see how that goes.
I just threw that out there because he took an official, or it wasn't official, but he took a visit last summer to Clemson.
Well, RJ looks pretty good when he plays. I don't know if he's Ohio State caliber. I'm not qualified to say that, but
He's got an arm.
yeah, he looks good, and he's got a pretty good teacher. That he's related to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think there'd be nothing cooler than RJ's like a borderline 5-star quarterback comes to Ohio State, sits there and develops, and then his third, fourth year on campus, he leads Ohio State to a national championship with his dad as the head
oh,
coach. Could you
instant 30 for
imagine?
30.
Oh my gosh, that's an amazing story, dude. I would sign me up, man.
I would love
I'm
that.
getting teary-eyed just thinking about it, man.
That would probably be our favorite national title of all time that we witnessed in our lifetime. I would say because it's like, and then that'd be what if it's like Ryan Day's like, hey, it's my last year at Ohio State. I'm going to coach my son, and then I'm done. And they win a natty together. I'd be like, okay, this was cutting onions, man. Jeez. And then they're both, and then RJ wins the MVP of the game, and they're standing up on the podium together. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
This
I
could
mean,
be the greatest father-son sports moment I could think of.
just write the movie. Write it now. Sell the movie rights right now. Get a movie going. I don't know who's
I,
going to play.
I mean, Bobby Knight got to coach his son.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a cool moment when he said his favorite Hoosier of all time was his son,
Yeah, well,
you
he
know,
should. Yeah.
but that fails in comparison to winning a national championship with your son as a starting quarterback
Oh yeah,
at the Ohio State University. So
100%.
that would be amazing. So that being said, Brian Hartline, you need to stick around till RJ wins a natty, baby.
Get your second natty ring.
Well, I hopefully they get one before then.
No, I
RJ is
agree.
going to be a junior in high school this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to wait another. What would that be? 6 years? No.
Yeah.
We did wait 10, so it's like maybe they'll change this playoff system in 6 years and add teams, and then we could win again. I mean, that just seems to be our mo. Whenever
Hopefully in a couple years. What do you so what do you think is an acceptable time frame between natties before you start
Good
questioning the coach
question.
again? Like, is it 3 years and then it's like, all right, buddy, back on the hot seat again?
That's such a good question. Hey, Steely, how you doing, buddy? Gosh, I'll tell you. I'm here with a special needs child. Oh,
You didn't know what kind of therapy this was, did you, buddy?
I was just throwing it in the wind there. Um, I say once every 5 years is reasonable. It's just, and I think this new format's going to be so tough, man. It takes
Yeah.
one bad night against a good team, and all of a sudden you're lopsided.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
So two a decade.
to a decade is reason. I mean, for Ohio State, it's reasonable. To expect you to compete for them pretty much every year, but know that you like this next year. I expect them to be in competition, but I don't expect them to win it. You know, based on what we're seeing right now, it doesn't mean they can't. It's just like looking at the roster, all the coaching turnover. I can't possibly see where we would be favored to win the Natty. I can't believe like we're in second in Vegas odds right now. It's like what the heck is are they smoking? I understand Ryan Day is the name right now. I get it, but
Yeah.
I mean, usually when you go into a national championship winning season, you got to have an experienced offensive line, which we did even when the guys went down. We still had experienced players. I mean, Hinsman was experienced. Donnie Jackson was very experienced, obviously. Um, okay, that was funny. I gotta life is like a box of chocolate. But anyway, yeah, but he's not a Bama fan though. That's the only difference. Um, but I just can't. I mean, I could see it in 26 to expect it, but 25. I don't know, man. I don't want to. I don't want to have put. I don't want to put such heavy
Yeah.
expectations on this team.
The way I look at expectations when you look at classes, I mean, let's be honest. We don't win the national championship if all those guys don't come back.
Of course not.
And how often does that happen at Ohio State? It's never happened. It's
Not that I can
never
recall.
happened.
Like 2002, I think was the only year that like even like I mean one of them coming back, Doss coming back was
Yeah,
amazing.
Doss, right?
Yeah.
The rest of them were pretty much juniors,
Mhm.
or in
Or they just
Maurice's,
weren't like high draft picks, but they were
yeah,
solid players that could play.
Maurice's freshman, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
uh, but you go back to 2014. It was 2015 that was supposed to be their
Yeah.
year,
Yep.
but they did it in 2014, and that's typically was the mo under Woody Hayes too. It
Mm-hmm.
was you got the
68.
super softs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't do it again. So I'm not gonna throw it out that it's not possible to go back to back. But I'm going to lean in agreement with you that I think 2026 makes more sense because Julian Sane will have one full year as
Mm.
quarterback under his belt.
We'll still have
You're
Jeremiah Smith. Yeah.
You'll still have Jeremiah Smith. You'll probably still have. I doubt you'll have Tate, but you might have the other receiver who's going to
Chris
start
Henry
this year.
Jr.
Chris Henry Jr. will be a freshman.
Yeah, but we see what freshmen can do. So.
Yep, yep. So, and who knows what we'll get in the portal, and the offensive line might have another year of development.
Well, it'd be interesting to see how Tyler Bowen recruits at the offensive line now that we've
Yeah.
got an uptick in recruiting.
Listen,
So
he needs to just hammer this Ohio class in 2026.
yeah, I did see where we went lean back in charge of Maxwell Riley when the second he was hired. Because we were when Justin Fry left the NFL. It looked like, okay, he's going to be gone to Clemson. It is what it is. But then you're reading reports now since Bowen got hired. I mean, immediately Riley's back in the Ohio State camp, and I'm like, that's quick.
Was that the rumor of the flip that we were getting?
Well, he's not a flip yet, but he's an Ohio offensive lineman that we you know who he is, obviously. Yep. But I mean, we were, but he hadn't committed yet, but he was heavily leaning Clemson.
I heard there was somebody that didn't come here because of Fry who might flip.
Oh, okay, that'd be interesting.
And I wondered if it was Sanders.
You know what? Did you hear the Sanders story though? What we did to him? I don't.
Yeah, it was a troll job of all troll jobs.
That's why I said, you know what, Justin Fry, I totally apologize to you about Sanders. That was not on you. Yeah. The team, he's not in charge of the NIL unless it was his call to say, well, screw you, I'll give you less money then. If it was his call, I kind of respect it. You know, it's like, you know what, don't come here and just try to leverage more money out of us out of Tennessee. So we are not Tennessee, whether you like it or not. So.
I got one more therapy question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Hypothetically, and you know how hypotheticals have been getting me in trouble lately.
I know, man. You're just gonna become another thread.
So 2024 was 2023 was the year of the skunk weasel. 2024 was the year of the golden Buckeye. If 2025 becomes the year of James Franklin, not James Franklining himself, and the Big Ten wins 3 consecutive national championships from 3 different Big Ten schools, what does that say in your mind?
I think it vindicates Colin Cowherd completely because Penn State has shelled out a lot of money to keep people in-house, shelled out a lot of money to get Knowles, and I think it means that the money the Big Ten has is the SEC folks don't understand. I mean, I know Saban understands it. He's crying about it every week on game day. I think the coaches understand. I think the player. Ooh, thank you, Bobby. Super chat, $2 super chat.
100%.
Yeah, it is legit. He's right. This class is legit, and Eric's right. Bowen needs to jump right on it. That's a home run class right away. But I think the money in the Big Ten is just like nobody even understands. It's significant. I mean, you add in Oregon, obviously. You know, I think
USC's old money.
Exactly. I just think it turns to the point. It turns to the fact that Colin Cowherd made a good point. He's like, a lot of the education in the Midwest and Upper North and in Northwest, Northwest is better than typically in the South. So more alumnus come out of those schools that have more money. So it's flowing into the Big Ten, and I think if you're seeing a major paradigm shift in college football, if you see another Big Ten team win it again. It's like the SEC better start panicking. Like, we're going to see a Big Ten dominance for how long now with NIL? And they're going to have to try to figure out how to get around it because you can't do it under the table anymore because a lot of Big Ten schools used to follow the friggin' rules. And then people like say Ohio State was cheating. I'm like, geez, we couldn't give a kid a Coke, you know,
I know.
Without self-reporting it.
Yeah.
Technically, Ryan Day has 39 recruiting violations. I bet y'all didn't know that. Because we self-report like if we tied his shoes for him. I mean, it's just stupid.
Yep. We actually lost. Who's the linebacker for the Cowboys?
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, we lost Micah Parsons because of a recruiting violation with game day. Because of game day.
Because he sat with Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when we self-reported it. For crying out loud. I mean, it's like our compliance is insane. Zach Smith has talked about it for years. Like, God, you couldn't do anything with them. So now that NIL is legal and we figured it out, and by the way, I hate to say it, the team up north has figured it out. Big Ten's going to be just shelling dollars to get players, and they're going to come from the South, which typically seems to have the better athletes at certain positions. And you know what? Joe Burrow, of all people, and I don't agree with his take, but he just said, hey, whoever offers you more money, take it and go. I don't agree with that take, but you can't tell me that's not the mentality of a lot
Hey
of high
man,
school players.
don't argue with a guy who owns a Batmobile.
Hey, I love Joe Burrow. I wish he were the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Trust me. But Joe's a top flight, top four quarterback in the NFL. But I'm saying if there's like $100,000 difference, why wouldn't you make other considerations? Like, well, Penn State wants me to be their quarterback, but they don't really put quarterbacks in the NFL. Ohio State, however, is offering me about 100 grand less, but they put quarterbacks in the NFL all the time. So, I mean, why not? I mean, that's my point with that. It's like, Joe, are you gonna go to the Browns because they offer you more money than, like, let's say the Eagles wanted another quarterback, which I don't see that happening, but you get my point. You know, it's just like, come on. What at what that point? What's a couple $100,000? you know. So I didn't like it. I didn't like the take, but I think that's the mentality of a lot of young high school players, especially like the Jeremiah Smiths of the world, who took less money to stay at Ohio State for sure because he's already here. But you can't tell me that you don't have to swing for the fences and pay him what he rightfully deserves, to be honest. So to get him to come to Ohio State, we got him out of Florida. You think in Florida and Florida State and Miami weren't shelling out the big bucks for him? He'd be wasted
No,
there, but
totally would be. Yeah, I mean, there's a report. I don't know if it's true or not. I thought it was Texas A&M
mhm.
offered Jeremiah Smith $10 million.
That wouldn't shock me. A&M, it has that history, don't they?
They oil money, baby.
And that's the thing. Texas and A&M are always going to have money. Those are the two SEC schools that are going to have money. They should dominate the SEC if you want to be real. And I think
Yeah,
Texas is going to
I
stick
think you're
around for a
right.
while. I think
I
Texas
think
is
you're
going to
right.
stick around for a while.
I think you're right.
But the
Uh,
Bamas of the world, I'm sorry. Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. They got Ryan Grubb back as the offensive coordinator. They're excited about that, but they ain't going to be able to compete money wise. And I think a lot of that money left as soon as Nick Saban left.
did you hear the rumor floating around about Bama and DeBoer this year?
No, what's up?
So the rumor was that he went super soft on them because that it was as far as his coaching style. Thank you, Tyler. It's 12 million. He says, yeah, I think, yeah, he's correct. It was 12 million they offered. That was the rumor, anyways.
He'd be wasted there. We're not
Oh
paying
yeah,
Jeremiah Smith anywhere near 12 million. I'm just saying.
no. Um, but that DeBoer went easy on the players at Alabama this year, because if he wouldn't, he would have lost more to the portal.
I believe that they came to play for Saban, and
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 so
we're
that he's already going on them a little bit harder, leaning on them more of his style of coaching, that he purposely had to change his style of coaching the first year that he was there.
well. I'm just gonna say this: Bill O'Brien was 1,000% correct about Jalen Milroe. That is one of the worst starting quarterbacks I have ever seen at big boy college football. That dude's terrible. And if any NFL team drafts him thinking, "Oh, we got our next guy," good luck with that one. He is
Yeah.
not Lamar Jackson. He is not Jaden Daniels. He's maybe Anthony Richardson, maybe. So I don't know,
Well,
but we've
that's not
gone over.
saying much.
I'm not saying that's about the best comparison I can make for him, but we're going over an hour here, man. I appreciate you, Eric. Tell what's going on this week. What we got going on this week?
Oh, jeez. Well, I'll have a video up eventually, probably in a couple days, how I became famous on Bucknuts threads this week. I'm gonna capitalize on it.
By
I'm
running for
gonna do it.
governor.
Yeah. So that'll be a video that's being produced. Chris and I have some things that we're working on for some videos. I've got a video coming out tomorrow of Sean Strock. I interviewed Sean Strock, one of our members. That'll be this week's member interview, so be on the lookout for that. We have our call-in show Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. And if you really want to look ahead, we have a very special guest next Sunday joining Cory, myself, and Chris, and Heather. That's all I'm going to say. She's awesome.
The more fans, the merrier. This is a podcast by fans for fans, right?
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely.
Heather, you're all going to love Heather. I think you're all going to love her.
And y'all got the call-in show this Thursday, right?
Yep. 8 o'clock.
Okay. All right, you got the call-in show. We'll be back. Obviously, after that will be Sunday. For the roundtable, as Eric just said, another therapy session. I don't have a topic at hand just yet. We'll see what Ohio State gives me. So,
It literally is the team that just keeps giving every week to you, Cory.
exactly. Right now, it's probably going to be when we find out the defensive staff is finalized and we're going to talk about it. That's probably what's going to be. But I am hoping for some, dead hookers in a garage somewhere. No, I'm kidding. Some real drama. Let's go.
When did the OHIO podcast become a true crime podcast all of a sudden?
Hey, I mean, that dude would need some therapy. Let's be honest. Let's be real on that one. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna need some therapy now.
I can't help you there. I only play a therapist on YouTube.
Oh, should we tell everybody about the time change?
Yes, you're right. So guys, the show's gonna move to 8:30 at nights now because my church, as you know, Eric's very Christian. I'm very Christian myself. My church started, I mean, just like last week, a Bible study on Mondays at 7 p.m. I'm about 15 minutes away from my church. So they go to about 8. Obviously, it conflicts with what I do here, but I really want to attend the Bible study. Eric, being the benevolent dictator that he is here at the OHI podcast, has said,
You all choked up on that one, buddy.
Yep, it said it's okay to start at 8:30 so I can attend said Bible study. And it is a real Bible study. I'm not making a metaphor for something. It is a real Bible study. You know how somebody, yeah, I'm going to a Bible study. It's it's like gambling league or something. No, it's I decided, I want to do a deep dive Bible study with my members of my church. I'm looking forward to starting to attend that. And Eric has been gracious enough to say, let's start at 8:30 on Mondays instead. So I can make that and make this. So I appreciate that, Eric, very, very, very much.
Awesome. Hey, wait a minute. Madimus said he wrote a book that's on Amazon. Did I catch that?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
Hey, what's the book? Put it in the chat. I want to look it up.
And he said he loves the Lord too. Awesome. Very, very cool.
Is that the name of the book?
That would be a cool name for the book. I love the Lord too.
I love the Lord too.
The sequel. Yeah.
The sequel. I love the Lord first. Is that? Yeah.
Here we go.
It's called Saving Farah. Okay.
All
I
right.
will look that up.
Everybody check that out on Amazon and give them and take a read, order it, give a review, help them out.
Cheryl, one last question. I can't. This is a good one, Cory.
Nice.
Paranormal investigator and equipment. Okay. Would you rather investigate a true crime or a paranormal location?
Paranormal location, because I'd probably have to do literally nothing. So, I mean, I would literally just sit there and listen to the creaking noises in the wood and go, "Oh, hey, it's a spirit." I used to love those shows because I used to mock them. Like I felt something.
Like Ghost Hunters.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it was awesome. It's like a creaking noise in the wood in a house that's 800 years old. I can't imagine. Jeez.
I'd rather do that because I don't have to do anything. He said.
I had to do no work.
It's a great motivation, buddy.
I just walk around going, "Yep, I feel a wind. Hello, are you speaking to me?
Have you?" Let's just end it. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah, I agree. Probably a good idea. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you guys as always. Stay tuned to our OHIO podcast all week. Smash that like button as always. Share it with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We appreciate you as always. They got a lot of stuff coming up this week, and I'll be back with them on the roundtable this Sunday. As always, guys, goodbye. God bless. And of course, go Bucks. OH.
Io.
Okay, cool.